I'm Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Notably, over the years, I've had an experience or two in doing media, and this is a good collection of those videos and other things I've done. I think you'll find it very interesting. From here on, I'll try to do two things. First, post current interviews as quickly as possible, and from here they'll go out to other social media sites. And secondly, I'll try to do a weekly update to you all on issues which I think are critically important for our discussion. I've said a number of times a couple of key things regarding our national security. First, national security is far too important to politicize by either side, and both sides have victimized the national security community for their own purposes. And also, one of the notable things about the Pentagon is we want an effective defense, not an expensive defense. And so often we see members of Congress on the conservative side quoting Reagan, but obviously misquoting Reagan, talking about how we must throw unlimited funds against the so-called perceived enemies of the United States, which is completely insane. We must go back to a strategy based on what is perceived and known and nascent threats, which may well be something that grow and we have to confront. ISIS is one of the most recent ones, which we did recognize was coming, but failed to adequately plan or prepare for dealing with them. So I think there's a number of things that we'll go through on a weekly basis, which I'd like to believe you all will both enjoy and be educated from. One of the things I wanted to cover today briefly is the fact that the President and I, despite being kind of worlds apart, are very close to the same age. And I wanted to be noted that while he was out and about doing his political shenanigans over the years that he went through his process of learning and growing, notably one of the things that I had the privilege of doing is serving the nation. I served over 30 and a half years in one form of uniform or another. And I had an extraordinary experience doing it, and I would go back and do it again in a heartbeat. And so while the President and I are nearly the same in age, our experience level and I think a number of things is very different. I'd like to believe mine is better. And more importantly, I think when you look at the two of us, the individuals that I'm speaking of here, uh, I'd like to believe the other thing is that, I've committed myself to a course of action which will allow me to remain faithful to my oath of office. There's no expiration date to an oath of office. And notably, I think people who take the oath of office should always reflect on that oath when they take action in anything they do, even when they're retired. So that's the other thing I'd like to see reflected in my work here on my YouTube page, as well as the work you'll see me doing in the media and on Capitol Hill and with the Pentagon. So last, here we are at the end of 2015. This channel's coming up right at the beginning of 2016. And I think with 2016 will come a great deal of challenges, a great number of challenges. One of those being the presidential elections. And as I mentioned previously, we need to depoliticize the national security process. With that said, we're going to have all sorts of debates about who has the best ideas. The bottom line is this. I think everyone needs to take a step back and look at what the true needs are of protecting the nation. And we're not talking about simply terrorists. We're not talking about large land armies. We're talking about things like electromagnetic pulse, about scientific and technology that can now be used against us in very insidious ways. The internet being one of the areas which we've had massive growth. Society has changed completely over the past 20 years. I'm not sure if people really recognize how different it is and how their life depends on digitization at every level. So I think it's important for us as an American people and as an international community, also concerned about the well-being of the human race, that we work together going forward to actually be realistic in our assessment of threats. Don't panic about silly things, but at the same time, understand that we do have adversaries. We do have people who would do anything they can to defend, to essentially, we will defend the interests of the United States and our allies. And there's others who will actually do anything they can to thwart that and undermine the society which we've come to appreciate and enjoy. So thank you for watching this video. I do hope that you'll find the videos on my site informative And I always welcome feedback and criticism, good or bad, about the content. So I look forward to serving you over the next few years in this channel, and Happy New Year.